Hello everyone, welcome to For His Namesake. I am Martina and this is my daughter Valentine, and we are a homeless family of 4 living in a truck and have been doing so for a year now. And we I had another daughter, her sister, that was living with us, and she's moved out and got her own place. And we do songs on this channel, and we also do some talks, and my husband does some short videos just to let you know what we do. And we have a lot of different topical discussions, and we are going to talk about one today. But before we get to that, we are going to be doing some shout outs. This will be our 3rd video now where we will be doing some shout outs, and where we kind of lift up other channels that have about, I would say, less than 1,000 subscribers, maybe closer to 500 subscribers, if even that. So we thought we would kind of give them a little boost, and we would love for you to please go check them out. And we're going to leave the links to their YouTube channels both in the description box below, and also we will pin it. So I will begin.
And I'm sorry, but for every single shout out video, I'm going to leave a disclaimer. It doesn't mean anything about the videos channels specifically. I'm going to do that every single time because everyone has their own convictions and how they view certain things. So disclaimer is, we're not endorsing every single thing that the person says or does, but please just show them respect, love, kindness, and again, it has nothing to do with them personally.
Yes, but the good thing is that they're all Christian channels. Yes. We wouldn't want to steer you to something that's unbiblical.
Right.
Yeah, so these are people, these are professing Christians. Okay, so I will go first. I would like to give a shout out to a channel called Warrior Woman, and she is just a wonderful lady of the Lord. Her name is Lucia. I hope she doesn't mind me giving her first name out. She does a lot of prayers on her channel. She'll pray for you, so you can send in your prayer requests and she'll pray for you, but she'll also just pray anyway. She sends out a lot of blessings, like, hey, have a great day today, hope you have a blessed day. She does a lot of songs that she'll sing, all kinds of songs. I've heard anything from hymns to worship and praise, and you name it. Wow. And she can hit those high notes. I can't hit those high notes. We can't hit those high notes. So please check out her channel. It is awesome, and she would love it, I'm sure, if you came by and visited her and subscribed. Okay,
in fact, you might have seen her. She's one of her subscribers.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. Okay, now Valentine's going to mention one.
The next one I'm going to be doing is, you've heard me say her name before, Cheryl, because she actually has 2 channels that I know of. One is the Mountain Hope Band, where she sings, that I mentioned. Her son also has his own channel. She just recently started a channel called Homespun Ministries, and during this time she has been reading chapters from a book that she's written called Biblical Minimalism. She's also an author. Her 4th book, I think, just came out, Homespun Ministries volume number 3. Can't wait to read that one, and I'll share more about it when I can show it to you. But for now, I'm going to talk about Homespun Ministries, and in fact the book Biblical Minimalism is perfect for today's topic.
Yes, definitely. Okay, and again, the link to her information will be in the description box below, and also pinned. Yes, exactly. And so today's topic will be on living with less. So, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted. There was a man watching us. I'm sorry. Okay, we're at the library parking lot, so we don't get a lot of privacy. Living with less. And we might be stepping on some toes, because a lot of you are in homes, and we used to live in a home, and we had a lot of things that, as I look back, I'm wondering, did we really need all of those things? And some examples are, for example, paintings on walls. I mean, I love art, and I call myself an amateur artist. I love to paint. I love artistry, anything to do with art. I love it. And I love to look at a beautiful painting, and Valentine and I will usually go to the art gallery just right here at the library, actually, and check out all the paintings. It's beautiful. But is it necessary to have a whole bunch of paintings hanging on the walls of our homes? For one, they collect a lot of dust. I have actually been able to take my finger across the top of the frame and go like this and have a film of dust on my fingers. It's disgusting. And another thing is they invite spider webs and spiders to come as well. And other interesting, we've had some interesting bugs behind the paintings when we took them down. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I'm just asking, is it necessary for us to have paintings? And we have 2 storage units, and every time we open it up, I keep looking in the storage unit and I'm thinking, do we really need all these things? So another would be like collectibles, people collecting things, or little figurines that you might have on your mantle, fireplace, just to look at. All of those things collect dust and invite spiders to make themselves comfortable there. You can probably name some others.
Oh, well, I can see here like stuffed animals. I'm in my 30s and already I had stuffed animals. A lot of them were gifted to me for birthdays, even when I was a baby. And before we moved, we did get rid of a lot of things, a lot of furniture, and yet we still have more.
In fact, I looked in the storage unit the other day and I noticed there was a very large trash bag, but it's the kind that's see-through, like you use for recycling, and it had all of my stuffed animals in there that I've had since I was a child, that I've been keeping and hoarding, because some of them have sentimental value, but nevertheless, it's stuffed animals, you know. Okay, what are some other things? We've got some, and you all, I'm sure, can come up with some things too that you have in your home, and you have to ask yourself, do I really need this? Is this going to sustain life?
Yeah.
Let's see. There's oh yeah, tapestry. Is that what you call it? Tapestry or tapestry? What's the word? Tapestry. We had quite a bit of those actually that would hang from like a wooden rod, and it looked like a carpet, if you will, but it had a painting, like a drawing on it, and it had a Bible verse. It had Bible verses on there, but nevertheless, when we moved and we took those down, oh my goodness, they were caked in dust. And I know you're supposed to clean, I know you're supposed to dust and everything, but I know that me and Valentine, we have terrible allergies. We get the feather duster out, and whoo, I'm allergic to feathers. So there you go. That's a double whammy. Oh my goodness, talk about sneezing and asthma. Oh goodness, it's probably just best not to have the thing in the first place. Okay.
Another thing is too many kitchen items.
Oh,
we
yeah.
packed quite a bit of that. Now, my brother, he was going through a phase where he loved to cook French, and I guess the French, they need certain items for cooking. But it just took up some space, especially when that French phase was over.
Yeah, like those little tart, I think that's what they're called, tartlet glass dishes. Expensive, and he only used it one or a few times, and then it just got shoved to the back of the cabinet. And that doesn't, I don't know if inside a cabinet things collect dust, but nevertheless, it's just too many things. And if you recall, speaking of cooking, if you remember, we had several sets of measuring spoons and several sets of measuring cups. Is it really necessary to have several sets? I know that if one of them breaks or something, yes, get another one, but then get rid of the one that broke. Don't keep hanging on to it. That's what we would do. Some of the cups would be broken or the handle would be off, but we just keep it anyway, and then we had 3 sets of measuring cups.
Or maybe we had too many, and so we couldn't find what we needed, so we thought, oh, it's missing, so we'll buy another one, and then we find the one that we were missing.
Exactly. That's usually how it goes. That's right. Oh yeah, and then some of you, I don't know if we did it that way or not, because I knew it would collect dust, and I didn't. Sometimes some of y'all will have a canister or like a ceramic canister on the kitchen counter that has all of your bigger utensils that you would use for cooking, like larger spoons for serving and stirring, like sauce or something on the stove. But that is one way for sure to collect dust on that, and any other thing that's in the air, airborne whatevers. So that is and a lot of times we would have definitely 2 or 3 of each. Again, that was just too much, really. Okay, what are some other things? Some of y'all like to collect antiques. I know Valentine's and you like antiques, right?
I only went to the antique store once because I was so excited. I do like old things, and this one was one of the best ones that I knew about. But yeah, it did collect dust.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to use the antique, it's better to make sure that you can use it instead of just looking at it.
Right, exactly. I knew people that have had statues inside and outside their home. You've seen those when you walk from the outside of the house, and there'll be like a lion, like those 2 lions that are made out of concrete on either side of the walkway when you walk into someone's home. And I'm thinking, that looks nice and everything, but is it necessary to have? And they're so heavy. Oh my goodness, you would need several strong people to pick that up if you ever had to move again, or if you decided you didn't want the lion there anymore and you wanted it somewhere else. And then again, they get the little grooves of the designs get, dirt and things in them, and sometimes birds poop on there. So I don't know, those are just things I'm thinking, is it necessary to have that? It looks nice, but I don't think we need to live with it. It's important to live with. Okay, oh yeah, and then speaking of, along with things collecting dust inside our homes and spider webs, that I think also creates allergies for a lot of us. I mean, Valentine I think it's because of the dog we had, but nevertheless, any extra dust, if she would start vacuuming, there goes the sneezing,
And our dog had died in a previous home, but even in the new home, I still have my chronic allergies where a lot of times I would have to stay in bed.
Yes.
And not do anything.
Right. But not to put you on the spottery thing or make you feel bad, but sometimes I'd go to her room and she would have, we all like to collect those American dolls. They cost a fortune. But, we still hang on to some of them. I think we still got some of them. And some of them would have dust on them. And I kept thinking, I wonder if this is what's causing your allergies, Valentine. Not to, put you in a bad situation, but I've been there too, where I've had things in my room, and I think, this is why I'm sneezing. It's because of this tapestry on the wall. So I took it down, and I don't think, I know I haven't missed it the entire year that we haven't had it. I would be willing to give it to anybody that would want it. It has a picture of a lion and the lamb laying down together, and it has that Bible verse that says, and the lion shall lay down with the lamb, or something to that extent. I think that's what it says. But nevertheless, it's a Bible verse, and I thought, hey, it's there for a good cause. Got a Bible verse on it. It's in the bedroom, but it collected a lot of dust. A lot. Yeah. Trying to think what else. Oh, some people I think I mentioned collectibles. Some people will collect plates. I know my mom had some ceramic plates hanging on her walls, and unless you are cleaning those on a regular basis and dusting them off, those can accumulate a whole lot of dust to the point where it feels gritty. If that's like really, really dusty. My mom never kept it that way, but I have kept some plates in the past, and if I didn't clean them, they got really, 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 I don't know what the word is. It feels like old food, but it didn't have old food on it. It was a clean plate, but it had accumulated so much dust, and I had just put it away on a cabinet somewhere and forgotten about it. Oh, that's what it was. It was on top of the refrigerator. I mean, of course you're not going to see a plate on top of the refrigerator unless you were up there cleaning the top of the refrigerator. And so that had collected a whole lot of dust. It was awful. It took forever to clean that up. And then I was thinking like ritzy homes, we've been to some fancy homes where they have chandeliers. How do you clean a chandelier? Oh my goodness. And they cost a fortune. And then if they break, there goes all that glass on the floor. So I'm just thinking, is it necessary to live fancy when you can live with less and still produce the same thing? Get a plain Jane light over your dining room table or when you come into the hallway, instead of the chandelier that costs a fortune, that takes forever, or it's practically impossible to clean unless you have someone professional come in and do it, and then you have to pay them to do that. So yeah, these are just some examples of what we people have collected in our homes, and then we ask ourselves, do we need it to sustain life? Do we really need it at all, really? And Valentine had asked a sweet question. She said, well, what about a picture of of our family on the wall? Would that be okay? And I thought, well, yeah, some people don't believe in any kind of pictures of anybody on the wall, and especially of Jesus on the wall. But, we're not Jesus. But, as a remembrance, I would think, that's okay. But everybody's to their, own convictions. Everybody has their own convictions on that. Me personally, I've had pictures of family on the wall, and somebody would come running by, and it would be down in the hallway. That's not a good place to put anything, really, in the hallway where there's so much traffic. And somebody came running by and accidentally hit their elbow on it, and there went the sheet of glass, boom, on the ground, and that was a mess. And then the picture, I could never find another glass because that costs money again, and I just didn't want to go through that again. I didn't want to have to worry about the glass falling to the ground again. So I guess it just depends on your own preference. If you want to have a picture of the family on the wall, sure, why not? Or on a desk, that might be safer. But again, it collects dust. I'm just thinking of dust here and allergies. And then also, is it necessary? And yeah, so Valentine, I asked her to look up that Bible verse. It's a very popular Bible verse. Something about, she'll read it to you in a minute, about not worrying about treasures here on earth. You've heard about it before. So I'll let her read it.
Okay. Matthew chapter 6, 19 through 21. This is Jesus talking. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Thank you. Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of talking here, and I feel like I've kind of taken over the conversation. Do you have something to say? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Valentine likes to read, and so she has a lot of books, and a lot of her friends also like to read, and they have a lot of books. And like we mentioned, we know two of her friends are authors.
Maybe 3. Well, one's not really a friend, but more like an acquaintance. I visit her blog.
Okay.
But what are you thinking, Sarah?
No, I was thinking about your 2 friends that are authors, Kelsey and Cheryl. Yeah. Yes. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name. So
well, I already mentioned that my friend Cheryl was an author.
Right. And so I was thinking about, we do have some author friends, and they love to, obviously, if you're an author, I would think that you love to read. Although Valentine and I are working on a book ourselves on our homeless journey, and I don't like to read. So it's been interesting. I like to write, though. I've, specialized in creative writing in college. So I like to write, but I don't like to read too much unless it's short, like a devotional. I can handle that. So, but yeah, what do you think about keeping books? Don't they collect dust on the shelf?
They do. I noticed that the more I used them, of course, there wasn't not much dust. It's the shelves themselves that collect dust. Of course, shelves are safer because you don't want your books just scattered everywhere, kind of like they are now in the storage unit. Because I have been reading, of course, during this time. I love to read. I would read a book over again and not just get rid of it. Now, of course, I have gotten rid of some books that I didn't like anymore. So I would say if you're going to keep books, don't just read them once. If you do, please get rid of them or donate them to someone who really loves to read.
Yeah. Now, what if it's a one-of-a-kind book? We used to go to some sales in another city where you could buy one-of-a-kind books, or it was a series of books that you would never find anywhere else, like it was back in the 1800s or whatever. Out of print, one-of-a-kind, and you'd pretty much have to pay quite a bit just to get there early to get that section of books that was just one of a kind. Rare finds. There we go. Rare find books. So what do y'all think about that? Keeping those? Is that, what's the word I'm looking for? Would that be okay to do? Or would you be able to, if it came down to it? Here's a hard question. What if Jesus stood before us? Talk about us now again. I need to stop saying you because we're all inclusive in this. What if Jesus stood before us and said, Martina, Valentine, whoever, would you be able to give up that vintage book? If there's such a thing as a vintage book, but that antique book, that one-of-a-kind, rare-find book, would you be able to give it up and follow me? You know what I mean? I mean, we're already Christians, but would we be able to follow him in this, like he did with his disciples? Come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And they followed him. They just gave up everything, their fishing nets and everything, and just left. What if they had just caught a bunch of fish? They probably gave that up too and followed him. I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I could actually just leave everything behind like that and just go. Even if it's Jesus. At least I'm being honest. So ask yourself that question. Would you be able to get rid of or just let that go, that one-of-a-kind, rare-find book, if that's what was going to bring you closer to Jesus, to the Lord? That'd be an interesting question, right? Something to think about. Yeah. You're not going to answer that?
I'm not sure. I mean, I went to a book sale where they're like $1 or $2. The rare finds was a bit more, and don't think I ever purchased in that area just because I didn't like the antique books. They didn't appeal to me. It was on my bucket list of books. Now I did get one rare find book. It was a portrait of birds, so that was pretty. It was for my brother because he was into birds at the time. So again, maybe look for someone else to gift to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that about, I was going to share, actually, that I forgot to mention, is that some people find materialistic things to be so valuable that they don't want anyone to touch it. I had several friends in Southeast Asia, in the country that I lived there before, and I don't want to mention that because I don't want to make it seem like they're all like that in that country. Just there were quite a few that I knew that did not want, if we came to their home to visit, they did not want us sitting directly on their couch or directly on another chair. It was covered in plastic, in a hard plastic where you could still see it, of course, because plastic is see-through. You could still see the furniture, but it was a hard plastic, and so that when you sat down, you could hear this, it was. And anytime you move, it was really loud. I'm not making fun, but just the noise I'm trying to make to go with that. And I want to show you the type of plastic. You have seen these before, these pencil holders. That kind of plastic. It's a very, very hard plastic that would be covered on the furniture, the coffee tables, you name it, or even if it was a throw rug, even that was covered in plastic. Wow. And then I would ask, aren't you going to remove that plastic at some point? And they said, no, we don't want it. We want to cherish it. We want to enjoy it and look at it because, it's beautiful, but we will never remove that plastic. And I thought, wow, talk about cherishing a material item that much. That,
and not very inviting for guests.
Right.
Reminds me of a book I recently finished called I Surrender All by Priscilla Shirer. And in her prologue, she mentioned how she, if you don't know who she is, she's a Christian speaker. She's also an actress. And she and some other guest speakers were invited to stay at this rich lady's house. And it was like a palace to them. And the host was nice and all, but she said, oh, please don't step in the rug. Please take off your shoes. Walk around the elaborate rug. And so all the ladies were tiptoe. Oh, ladies, whatever you do, don't go near this and don't go near that. Please don't touch that. And even in their own bedrooms, they couldn't touch certain things. Oh, don't step in the rug. It's just to look at.
I think I'd be like, excuse me, I'm going to just go outside. Let me know when you're done looking.
Well, who knows what's outside that you can't.
Oh, that's right. Don't touch the lion statues.
I mean, she was a sweet host and all, right. But she treasured those things so much that you were not allowed to even probably tiptoe on certain things.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I mean, I'm not making fun, but it's just a funny situation. I wish I could be a fly on the wall and watch everybody's reactions as they're, oops, I almost touched that. That would have been kind of a neat scene to see.
And interesting enough, that analogy was brought up for surrendership. The lady was not willing to surrender those objects, and it's Priscilla Shirer says, same with our hearts. Are we only going to let Jesus have occupation certain parts of us or all of us.
That's a good way to end this talk. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Great. Well, I think that about covers. Thank you for giving that story. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a funny one. So be thinking about, for those of you who are living in homes, kind of go around each room and ask yourself, as you're looking at your painting or the figurine that you've had and look at it and actually go up to it and touch it and see if you can get the dust off of there. And if you want to clean it, great. And you can handle that without the allergies, that's even better. And just ask yourself, do I really need this? Or can I just donate it? You know, I know that seems ridiculous. It almost seems like a, what do you call it? An oxymoron, I guess, because we're saying to ourselves, oh, I don't need it because it's a material item. But then if we donate it to someone else, we're still donating a material item, if you think about it. And that usually goes to Goodwill. And Goodwill is for people that, you know, it's more for, I would say, poor people, right? It's more for people with lower incomes, and they would go and buy something like that there. So anything we get rid of that's materialistic, then they would find it there. But where would they put it? I mean, if they don't have a home like us, you really don't have any room in a vehicle to accumulate a bunch of things that we don't need. Only have necessity items in here, really, for the most part. Right?
Right.
I mean, we do have a few. I think you can see in the back here that we do have some stuffed animals, you know, because we do a lot of, you know, puppetry, whatever. Not puppets as in in your hand, but you know what I mean. We kind of move them around a little bit just to have some fun. And so, yeah, that's about it. But everything else is something that we can actually use. So, yeah. So be thinking about that and share with us if you'd like about things that you've been hoarding or keeping for whatever reason, and you can actually say to yourself, you know, I really don't need this. This is just another item I really don't need, and I can just go ahead and chunk it, so to speak. Yeah.
And I know I've mentioned her channel that Cheryl is reading her book, but if you want a physical copy in your hand too, I can link her book where you can purchase it on Amazon.
Yeah, and speaking of that book, that's what really helped me personally to get rid of a lot of things that we really didn't need. I mean, that book is phenomenal. That's all I can say. It really helped me in more ways than one. So I think it can help you too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
we hope
Valentine's
that
famous
you
words.
Enjoy the video and that you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Leave your comments down below. Please check out the channels that we mentioned. Give them some encouragement and love. And yeah, Lord willing, we will see you on the next video. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.